Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a new video. So we're going to be installing something on the F80 tonight, something that I have been meaning to do for quite some time, pretty much since I had the car, and I'm finally getting around to it. And what we're actually going to be changing up are the lugs. So currently we are running the stock lugs on there, which are just lug bolts. BMWs, M cars, that's just kind of the method that they do. So lug bolts, studs, anything, lug nuts, M cars, BMWs, they pretty much consider them consumables. Basically, after an X amount of time, X amount of miles and years, you should replace them. Especially if you track your car, those are something that many people replace pretty often. And given the fact that we change wheels so often, we got the E88s on there, which are really nice and very expensive wheels, we don't want to screw them up. So one way around it is to actually convert that over to a stud kit. So currently, as I mentioned, I'm running the lug bolts, but over here we have a nice stud kit. As I mentioned, most M cars, or pretty much every single BMW ever made, comes with lug bolts, but we're going to be converting over to a stud kit. So as you can see, it's an actual stud that screws into the hub of the wheel, and then you're going to have actual studs sticking out. So again, these are consumable, so these things over time, if you track the car, obviously, I mean, for what I use the car for, I don't imagine these really ever going bad, but for a track car or anybody that uses their car very aggressively, these can be replaced super easily, just like the lug bolts. But what this is actually going to do is not only increase the overall motorsport look that I got going on with this car, but it's going to make dismounting and mounting wheels so much easier. I don't have to worry about falling off the hub when I take the lug bolts off and scratching up the calipers and everything. So this is a really, really nice option. And to be honest, it's really not that expensive. This is actually the Mach Chanel 75mm stud kit. So as you can see, it is just steel. Yes, they're titanium ones. Yes, you guys know how much I love titanium, but there's a few reasons why I didn't go with titanium. Titanium looks really nice, but the main reason why I didn't go with them, or two reasons why I didn't go with them. One is that titanium can't disperse heat like steel. Steel, you're able to actually expand and contract the heat, whereas titanium is not able to do that. And because of that, there has been some horror stories where their wheels have completely fallen off on the track or the drag strip. Safer bet, go with steel. Yes, titanium is really nice, but for me to sleep better at night, I went with the steel kit. Now, there's a couple different versions of these. You can get one that is called a bullet nose. I'll put it on the screen what it looks like. Basically, the tip is rounded, looks really nice, but any bullet style stud that I've seen, the tip of it is all pitted and it doesn't really look too nice. The titanium ones do look nice, but again, I wanted to go with steel. Also, I'm not a big fan of how the bullet nose style is installed. You have to do the double nut method. Not a big fan of that. This is super easy. As you can see, it's just a hex key. I think it's like a 5 or 6 millimeter, super easy. Torque them down to 25 foot-pounds with some Loctite, which is included, and you're good to go. This kit actually includes some lug nuts as well, which I'll try to get out. Just a basic black lug, which is decent, but it's nice that it comes with a kit, but I decided to go a little extra further. So as you can see here, we decided to go all out on the lug nut. This is a set of lug nuts I've always wanted, and there's a couple of reasons why I decided to go with them. These are the Project Kicks R40 Iconics. Love these lug nuts. This is also a lock lug nut as well, so you can see the 4 here, 2 here, 2 here, so it's a special little key. Very nice wheels. Obviously don't want them stolen, but I'm not too worried about that. I don't live in an area or park the car in an area where I have to worry about that, but still, the really cool thing that I love about these lug nuts is that not only do they look beautiful, but as you can see on the seat here, it's actually a ring. So this spins, which is perfect because when you actually torque this down to the wheel, this part spins so it doesn't mar up the wheel. Now, obviously, I already have the lug bolts installed and the previous owner installed them and everything. So there is a little bit of marring, which is completely normal when you install any wheel. But if you have a lug nut like this, it'll reduce and eliminate the chances of marring and scratching the little lug holes. So really nice lugs. Absolutely love these. I picked these up from my buddy, 880 Motorsports. I got a few things from him in the past. I got my downpipes and everything from him, from Chris. Super cool dude. Got these things to me super, super quick. And I'm excited to get this on. So before we get started on the install, there's a couple different size studs that you can get. These are the 75 millimeter. There's a 45 millimeter, I believe, a 75 and a 90. 45, I believe, is the size. That is the stock lug size. 75 is probably the most common one. You can run anywhere up to a 20 millimeter spacer, and then they have a 90 millimeter, which you can run a larger spacer. I wouldn't recommend running a 90 unless you're running some crazy aggressive spacers, which most people don't on these cars. 75 is the perfect happy medium. I'm not running any spacers in the back. In the front, I have a 5 millimeter, so I probably could have gotten away with the 45, but I wanted that motorsport look, and I also wanted to have something a little bit longer, you know, for the future in case I wanted to run a different set of wheels and need spacers or what have you. Again, this is the happy medium. This is what most people choose, so I decided to go with this size. So just to kind of show you what it looks like when we do install it. So the shorter side here with a little nub, that goes into the hub, and then the actual lug nut screws on. So I'm not going to screw it all the way down just because there's so many threads, but basically the seat of the lug goes pretty much down to here, and then some of the stud is actually going to stick out a little bit. That's why I got some open-ended lug nuts. You can get closed. You can get these actually with little caps as well, but I really love the stud kit. I love how you install it. Super simple. A lot of people love the Mach Chanel. A lot of people use that. And the beautiful Project Kick lugs is just going to be the icing on the cake, and it's just going to look really nice. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm probably going to start on the passenger rear, move up to the passenger front, and then we'll get the driver's side done. So let's go ahead and get these installed. So off camera, I actually did the driver's side. Just wanted to get it knocked out, familiarize myself with the whole process. Super, super simple. So I'll show you how to do it on this side. Looks awesome. Very, very happy with it. We're going to start back here. The lug bolts are a 17 millimeter. Since I have the E88s with the deep race pockets, I picked these up, which are really awesome. They have the socket protectors. So the lugs are 17 millimeter. What I used to use were these. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with these. These are just a Harbor Freight special. They're really nice. They have served their purpose over the years. I have used these on many, many wheels. But I can't reuse them on the race pockets. Well, I can, but I'd rather not, because the actual seat where the lug goes is super far in. As you can tell, that's why they're race pockets. This, I'll show you an example, got to be careful, but once we put it onto the actual lug, you can see the metal is actually touching the wheel. So I actually found these, which are the big boys, super long sockets with the protectors on it, 17 millimeter. So as you can see, we got plenty of protection on the wheel. This is like a PVC, like a plastic, so it doesn't scratch. So we are good, although the new lugs, I have special keys for them, but thankfully they're really skinny, so it doesn't touch the wheel when I'm actually torquing everything down, so I can still use these for a little bit of protection, but these obviously have to touch or go onto the lug there. So just got to be careful, but it's worth it. It looks fantastic. So I'm going to pop them off with this, my trusty Impact. Highly recommend picking this up. This is like under $200, pretty insane for what it is, and I'm really happy with it. So let's get this wheel off and start installing the studs. All right, wheel is off. We're going to take one of the Mach Chanel 75 millimeter studs. On the short end where the little nub is, you want to take the supplied blue Loctite. You want to put it on the end of the threads here. All right, so I actually ran out of the blue Loctite that they supply. Thankfully, I have more. So you just want to put it on the ends like that. So when you do screw it down, it goes on all the threads. You don't want to put it at the end of the threads. You want to put it at the beginning. So when you screw it down, they all get the Loctite on there. There's no science behind it or anything. You just a little bit of blue Loctite and screw them in. All right, so that is what it looks like, just hand tight. Now, this is the point where we're gonna torque them down. I have a massive torque wrench that's like 25 foot-pounds to 150 foot-pounds, I believe. It's just too big to torque these down to such a low spec. So I'm just doing the good old-fashioned good and tight. My wrist is calibrated to 25 foot-pounds, so that is what you need to torque it down. Now, if you don't have a torque wrench that you trust or that goes as low as 25 foot-pounds, basically you just want to tighten them down until it stops, so like that. That's pretty much 25 foot-pounds. Now you don't have to get super complicated, but I'm kind of just leaning on it nice and tight. But 25 foot-pounds on the old wrist is good enough for me. And there's blue Loctite on there, so we'll be good. And if you're really anal about that stuff, you can certainly go get a torque wrench. But for me, the wrist, the calibrated wrist that I do have works just fine. All right, so that is what we're looking at. This would be a good chance to clean up your hubs as well if you need to. Mine are very clean, so I don't need to. You can just use a little wire brush that you hook on a drill and clean it up. I did that when I first painted these hubs, when I installed my first set of wheels about a year ago, and everything still looks good. And yeah, so these are nice and torqued down. Everything is good, simple as that. Now we can throw the wheel back on and the lugs, and we'll be good. Now, I torque everything down to 90 foot-pounds. I believe the spec is about 88, but with all my cars, I always do 90 foot-pounds. I never had any issues. Just keep it nice and simple. So I'm obviously going to be waiting about 24 hours for the thread locker, the Loctite to completely seal and dry up and everything. You'll be okay to drive on it, to be completely honest, if you have to, but I always like to wait at least 24 hours. So I'm not driving it tomorrow. We got a lot of rain this week, so the car is going to be sitting in the garage for a little while, and it's getting colder as well. But I'm going to go ahead and throw the wheel back on now and put the new lugs on, torque them down to 90 foot-pounds, and we'll be good. So nice. So we use one of the locking lugs now, which looks like this. Then you get a special key that works with just this lug. Torque that down, then you use the 4 others that look like this. So pretty simple. Actually, I just realized I can use the 19 millimeter. I don't have to use the key on this one. Since I have the long socket, I don't have to use the one supplied. So that's nice. So I'm still able to use the nice protective coating one, just not on the lock key one, which is fine. All right, so now I'm going to torque it down to 90 foot-pounds like I normally do. And take my key and do this one first, the locking key. I got my 19 millimeter socket, just torque it down. And the rest I can just use the socket. All right, guys, so the rear passenger side is done. Looks beautiful. I love that these studs actually don't stick out. I can actually even get the little caps that go over it, I believe, because they just screw in. Although I'm not sure, no, I don't think I'll be able to, because there's no more threads to be able to screw the little caps in. So I don't think I'll be able to use the little caps, but either way, I think it looks so much cooler, so much more motorsport looking. And I love the little decal over there. I think it just adds a really nice touch. So there is the after. And if we look on the front, there is the before. So I think it looks so much better with the stud kit and the lugs back there. It just looks so much more motorsport and so much easier to get the wheel on and off without scratching the caliper and the wheel and everything. So looks so good. Really happy with that. But all right, let's hop onto the front. It's exactly the same process. To be honest, I may wait and do the front tomorrow because I need to go pick up some more blue Loctite because I think I ran out. So when you're doing this, make sure you have a bigger bottle or another one on hand because the one supplied is definitely not enough to get all 4 wheels done. All right, we got the passenger front wheel off. Something to note, you guys are always wondering if I rubbed on the spring with the wide 275s up front. No rub at all. As you can see, the spring is perfectly clean. Good there. There's no rubbing going on in here, especially on the bumper tab. No rubbing. Looks perfect. So pretty amazing. You can fit a 275 up here. This side, the front, I'm actually running a 5 millimeter spacer. This is a future classic, so just popped it off just for the sake of installing it. But the really nice part about having spacers now with the stud kit is it slides right on and you don't have to kind of twist it with the wheel to try and line everything up. So it's so much easier installing wheels with spacers. But yeah, I think I have enough Loctite left to get this done. Gonna have to squeeze the tube or maybe even cut it open to get the last drops left, but we should have enough to get these 5 done. So let's knock this out and we can finish up the install. guys, so there we have it. Front is installed all around, all four corners. I'll show you the other side as well, because I didn't really talk through that one. I just got some clips for you guys, but there is the front and there is the rear, looking awesome. Super happy with that decision. Now again, you can go with any type of lugs, or you can just go with the lugs that are included with the Mach Chanel kit, but personally I wanted to go above and beyond and get a beautiful set of project kicks. I've used many sets of these in the past, and I've always loved them. They've been great, and these are kind of the end-all be-all lug nuts for the end-all be-all wheels for me, and it just turned out so nice. We have the Milway street camber plates coming. I got a few other things as well, so if you're looking forward to those videos, we'll be doing more installs on the F80. Anything I use in this video, including the studs and the lugs, so the extended sockets that I use, the hex sockets, impact wrench, and everything else that I use, even the wrenches, I'll throw down there for you guys as well, because if you guys want to do exactly it the way that I did, you most certainly can. Huge shout out to Chris. Thank you so much for supplying these and getting these to me super quick, and they turned out amazing. I love how it looks. Kind of completes the wheel setup for me, and yeah, on to the next. So if you guys have any questions at all, be sure to ask them below, but in the meantime, keep it clean, keep it simple, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.